Welcome to the Beyond Threats podcast by Bleckmann. I'm your host, Johnny, and I'm thrilled to have you with us today. Whether you're tuning in from your commute, at the office, or relaxing at home, we appreciate you taking the time to be with us. In each episode of Beyond Threats, we deep dive into topics that are shaping the future of fashion and logistics and lifestyle logistics. And today, we have an exciting discussion lined up for you as we explore the omnichannel advantage. I'm joined today by Lewe Goldmann, Supply Chain and Operations Director from Cloud9 Hair. Welcome, Lewe.
Welcome, Johnny. Thank you for having me.
All right, before we kick off, perhaps a quick introduction of yourselves and Cloud9 Hair.
Of course. So, as you said, I'm the Supply Chain and Operations Director at Cloud9 Hair. So, within that remit, it's, as the title suggests, supply chain, so inbound purchasing, but it also encompasses the logistics, so outbound as well as the warehousing side. Obviously, that's where we work very closely with Bleckmann. But also within my remit, I look after the compliance, product development, customer service, and returns to make a logistics full cycle.
Yeah. Enough challenges for you there, Lewe.
Yes, I do wear quite a few hats. Yes.
Yeah. All right. And as a first question, Lewe, can you explain what omnichannel is and why it's crucial for brands like yourself to adapt to it in today's market?
Of course. So I think a big misconception in the market, in the industry, is probably people seeing omnichannel the same as multi-channel. And I think it's a very big differentiation, versus multi-channel is more about selling, marketing, etc. through different channels, versus omnichannel really means a seamless approach to it. So it's not just about doing it through different channels, it's doing it consistently, doing it coherent, doing it, like I mentioned, seamless between the different channels. And depending on the area where we talk about omnichannel, it depends how that is defined. So omnichannel could be marketing, for example, where you have different marketing platforms and different mediums, out of home, podcasts like we do now, or online advertising, etc. They all need to feel seamless to the customer so that the brand is recognized instantly. And quite a few companies do it really well, where you see a snippet of an advert and you know exactly, oh, that is brand XYZ, because it's done so well that you can see it straight away. One thing that obviously what I get quite involved with as well is the customer journey that needs to be omnichannel, needs to be seamless. And an example there is a customer could see a advertising with a click-through link on TikTok, for example, or any other social media platform. And if they then click on the call to action button, like a buy now or shop here or whatever you want to call it, and get then translated over to the website or any other platform, it still needs to be the same. It needs to look the same. It needs to feel the same. It's got to say the same thing. So the terminology is really important there. So have that seamless. That for me is omnichannel.
All right. So multi-channel versus omnichannel. I understand that. And how does adapting an omnichannel approach improve customer reach and engagement, Lewe?
I think that's because nowadays there are so many different platforms out. There are so many different, it's TikTok or Instagram, Facebook, anything out there. So by really having this similar or same and seamless approach and using the omnichannel marketing and customer journey there, you can reach the customer where they like to play, where they like to shop, where they like to interact. So some people might prefer Instagram, some prefer TikTok. And if you as a brand can really represent yourself on these different channels as a single brand, rather than that's what, for example, Cloud9 looks like on Instagram, and that's very different what it looks like on TikTok, you can lose that customer very, very quickly, because they might not have the same experience on their chosen channel as their friend who told you about it. And what they experience on their channel. Like if an Instagram channel is really good, but TikTok is really bad, if Instagram follower promotes us and a TikTok user goes on it and goes, oh, that's not a very good experience, you can lose that very quickly.
Yeah. And can you explain how your omnichannel strategy helps you to manage inventory. We're making the step towards the physical part. So how does it help you to manage inventory more efficiently across the different channels?
Absolutely. And this is where the next kind of area of omnichannel comes in play, where it's obviously very relatable to our relationship between Bleckmann and Cloud9. It's the omnichannel fulfillment. So whilst before I was talking about how you can obtain the orders through marketing and through customer purchasing journey, the omnichannel fulfillment here is really really the key, because by having a very good, it's called a front-end omnichannel approach, you can dial up and down different areas of your purchasing journey from the customer. So you can promote certain SKUs, you can promote certain SKU ranges that you like to either sell through or sell more of, sell less of, depending on your stock availability. So you can really drive that. And then if you then have a good partner like we do with yourselves at Bleckmann, where we can toggle very quickly from a B2B versus a B2C delivery model, and that is really give us some strength at the back end to utilize the strong omnichannel approach at the front end, to then use our inventory management systems to really drive down the right level of inventory, and that way it becomes a totally seamless approach to everything, and a retailer has the same level of experience that a end consumer will have from us, which then in turn will give us good feedback, which give us a good standing with that retailer, and they potentially push, oh, Cloud9 is really easy to work with. Let's get some more stock from them because we can sell it and it's easy for us to work with. So that certainly helps on the back end as well.
So you tap on the notion here of different type of customers, right? Direct to consumer and all the partners that you have in the different channels, right?
Yes.
How do you go about with the having the same experience across the channels if the customers vary that much?
I think it's about understanding the customer. So whilst it's important, and we talk a lot about the same and similar experience, there are obviously differences to fulfill to a retail partner, to a B2B customer, than it is to a B2C customer. But it's ultimately, whilst there are slightly different requirements, such as packaging requirements, etc., for the B2B side, it's the same kind of experiences, just with slightly different requirements. Everyone wants it packed well and to their requirement. Everyone wants it fast, and everyone wants to be informed about the journey of that product to yourself, right, as the customer. So I think understanding that, whilst it looks very different initially, like a one-off shipment to a one hair straightener to a consumer, it's very different than 20 pallets to a retailer, right? But it's not. It's still the same. It's got to be packed in the right way. So having the most appropriate approach to packaging, what does the customer want? The customer wants a great, nice experience when they open it. So we've got to do that. A retailer wants it to be efficient. So we've got to have the right level of units per master carton and storage quantities, pallet heights, etc. So whilst the details within the, let's call it bucket, is the same thing, you still have the same buckets of good and efficient packaging with the right experience. The experience might differ, but it's still the same bucket. Then fast, you still got to be fast and reactive to it. Everyone wants it now, even the retailers. Whilst we're giving them certain guidelines, they still place it at the last possible minute to receive the stock, because it's a cash flow, it's a storage, it's a multiple faceted aspects for them. And then the third thing is the communication. So we found out that the end consumers tend to be more bothered about the communication side than retailers, right? We need to constantly inform the customer that passes on its way. So what we've done actually is we've taken an approach of, if it's the minimum, so if it's the best case in one area, that's the minimum for everything else. So a lot of the communication we do to the end consumer, we also do to the retailers now. And sometimes the retailers go, oh, we don't need all that info, but we're like, but it's our standard process to provide that to you.
And that might be an extra that they get used to, right?
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So what are the main challenges that you are facing when integrating this omnichannel strategy into your business, and how did you overcome the hurdles that you met there?
I think the single biggest challenge is the consistency. Like, that is such a big thing because it's so important. Like I said before, it's seamless. It's look, feel the same for the customer or whoever it is that you interact with there. And being that consistent, especially for a company like us, when we grow, when we create loads of assets on the marketing side now, I'm talking about, it's really crucial that it's consistent and it's checked again and again and again to make sure it does feel the same. It's very easy that when you push out a lot of marketing and assets, that one doesn't fit because it might be optimized to slightly different screen resolution, or like Instagram is stories versus Facebook is more pictures and stories, and having the right material out there that works, and that it's like it's the challenge of being consistent but still not inflexible. I think that's probably the right trade-off, because certain terminology, certain, like I said, pixelations and formats work better on different platforms, but you still got to be the same, even though, like, you can't do the same image. For example, if you put a marketing image out, you can't put the same image on every channel. That's not what I'm saying at all. But the different image, the different mediums need to relate back to each other and feel the same.
Well, you just mentioned growth. I can imagine for you that also entails expanding into new markets, and also there's also a changing retail environment, of course. So how does omnichannel strategy help you to remain competitive in the end?
So if you look at new markets, for example, by having a very good approach and set up already in the markets and in the platforms you currently use, if you enter a new market, there's likely to be a new type of customer and a way of interacting with that customer. So we recently launched into UAE, for example, and they shop quite differently than we do now here in the UK, or in Europe, where you're based. And having already the checks and controls in place to manage multiple platforms made it very easy to adapt to that, because it ultimately became just another channel for us. We already had a omni-channel approach on 5 channels. Now we do it across 6 channels. So that makes it really easy for us to adopt a new channel, rather than it's being a massive deal. Oh my God, now we've got to do 2 channels. It's not. It's adding a different channel to the same processes and controls that we have in place.
So you're stacking your lessons learned as you add new channels to your strategy.
Absolutely.
All right. So thanks very much. Thanks very much, Lewe. We've covered everything from front end to fulfillment on the challenges that you have. We tapped upon the differences between the customers in the different channels, and it's good to be aware of the impact it has on fulfillment and the challenge it takes. And one of the main topics that I've written down here in my notes is the fight and the challenge to keep it consistent, right, across the challenge. So thank you very much, Lewe, for these valuable insights. It's been a quite interesting conversation, and thank you for sharing your knowledge and expertise on this.
Thank you very much.
Before we conclude, Lewe, could you let our listeners know how you can be reached if they have more questions about the omnichannel advantages?
Of course. I'm on LinkedIn, so feel free to reach out on there. That's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, great. Thanks again, Lewe.
Thank you very much.
As much as we would love to continue this engaging discussion, we've come to the end of our episode. For those tuning in, make sure you subscribe to the Beyond Thread podcast and follow the socials of Bleckmann. Stay tuned for the latest trends and innovation in logistics. Until then, this is Johnny Bunning, and stay tuned for next episodes.